Hello students, welcome to your second PUC NCERT Biology practical session. In today's session, we will be studying about meiosis. What is a meiosis? Meiosis is a type of cell division which takes place in germ cells. Germ cells undergo meiosis. It is also called reductional division and produce gametes which are having haploid set of chromosomes. Germ cells will be carrying diploid set of chromosomes which undergo meiosis, where the number of chromosomes are reduced to half and the gametes will be carrying n number of chromosomes. When it comes to male, the gametes will be sperms which are produced from testes in case of mammals, and when it comes to female, from the ovary, ova or egg will be released which will be carrying n number of chromosomes. So, that is about the general idea of meiosis. Next, we will have to study what are the steps or how meiosis takes place. Meiosis undergoes in two different processes after the interphase. Those two steps will be karyokinesis and cytokinesis. Karyokinesis means it is division of nucleus and cytokinesis means it is division of cytoplasm. So, karyokinesis is further classified into two different forms, that will be meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Each meiosis has two different steps, that will be karyokinesis and cytokinesis. This karyokinesis is further divided into four different steps. Prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. Next, meiosis 2 is again having karyokinesis which is further divided into four steps, that will be prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2. So, the meiosis takes place here is meiosis 1 and in meiosis 2 phase. In meiosis 1 phase, karyokinesis means it is equal division of the nucleus as well as nuclear components. In karyokinesis, it is further divided into prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, and then comes the cytokinesis. After cytokinesis, there is a small step of interphase, then only the cell can enter into meiosis 2. In meiosis 2, again there are two different stages, that is karyokinesis, equal division of nucleus. In karyokinesis, here the steps involved will be prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2, and then there will be cytokinesis, that is equal division of the cytoplasm and cell components, and finally the meiosis gets completed with daughter cells having n number of chromosomes. So, that is the process. We will be studying about each of them in detail. Now, when it comes to prophase 1 here, These are further divided into 5 different stages, and prophase 1 is the longest phase in the meiosis. The 5 different stages will be leptotin, zygotin, packetin, diplotin, and finally diakinesis. These are the 5 different stages which are present in prophase 1. So, we will be studying about each of them in detail. In the screen, what you can see is the structure or the leptotin stage of prophase 1 of meiosis. What happens here in leptotin? So, here the centrioles will start to divide and slowly start to move towards the opposite poles. The nuclear membrane nucleolus will remain intact without getting degenerated. Here you can see the chromatin fibers will slowly start to condense and they form a structure like a thin thread with lots of beads. These beads are called chromomeres and they form a flower bouquet like stage. That is why this leptotin stage is also called a bouquet stage. Next, in this screen you can see the structure of zygotin. In this zygotin stage there will be a very important concept called pairing of homologous chromosomes. So, there will be similar structural chromosomes. They will start to pair with each other and they are bind with the help of a synaptonymal complex. It is also called synapse antanu karitaridana. Synaptonymal complex is the region where the homologous chromosomes are paired together along with their or based on their banding patterns. Next stage what you can see here is the packetin stage. Packetin stage is the stage where you can see that the homologous chromosomes where the synapse have occurred, they start an important process which we call crossing over, which is very much necessary so that there is variation in the offsprings. So, there is crossing over which takes place between non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes, where the non-sister chromatids exchange the segments between each other. This is a very important step which takes place in the packetin. Next one is the diplotin stage. Diplotin stage here has, once the synapse has already occurred in a particular region or once the crossing over has already occurred in a particular region, except that particular region, rest of the non-sister chromatids will start to move apart from each other. The region where there is crossing over taken place, that region remains attached and this is what is called chiasma or chiasmata. Next, in the diakinesis stage, the process of terminalization takes place. Terminalization is a process where there will be unwinding or separation of the non-sister chromatids which takes place from the centromere until the terminal or the telomeric region of the chromosome. So, they completely separate from each other now. Now, each homologous chromosome will be having the patches of the non-sister chromatids they have exchanged. So, in this diakinesis stage, the centrioles have already reached the opposite poles. There will be degeneration or complete degeneration of the nuclear membrane and nucleolus as well as the cell components. Now, the centrioles will have to or will start to produce the spindle fibers. This process takes place in prophase 1, that will be leptotin, zygotin, packetin, diplotin and diakinesis, where very important processes like pairing of homologous chromosomes, formation of bivalents or tetrads, crossing over, synaptonymal complex as well as chiasma and terminalization takes place. Next is, on the screen you can see will be the metaphase 1. So, in this metaphase 1 you can see that all the chromosomes are arranged in the equatorial plane and the centrioles which are placed in the opposite poles will be producing spindle fibers which get attached to the centromeric region. Now here they get attached not to the centromere but to the kinetochore region. So once the kinetochore, now all the homologous chromosomes are placed in the equatorial position. So here once the spindle fibers attached to the kinetochore region of the chromosomes, what happens is the chromosomes will start to move separate from each other. So here in the metaphase stage, all the homologous chromosomes are arranged in the equatorial position. The spindle fibers get attached to the kinetochore region. Next here you can see is anaphase. In this anaphase there is no splitting of the centromere. Instead the paired or attached homologous chromosomes will start to move towards the opposite poles. While they move based on their position of the centromere, they take different shapes like V, I, J, different shapes can be seen in the chromosomes. Now you can see that the size of the spindle fiber from opposite poles or opposite sides have been reduced, and the chromosomes, each chromosome have two sister chromatids. So in together there are two arms. So these homologous chromosomes which are separated now move towards the opposite poles due to reduction in the size of the spindle fibers. This much takes place in the anaphase 1 stage, that is movement of the chromosomes towards the opposite poles. Next one comes the telophase stage. In the telophase stage there will be reappearance of the cell plate, the nuclear membrane, nucleolus starts producing once again, which has been degenerated, are again produced here, and the chromosomes which have been condensed will become thin and long and will be completely present within the nuclear membrane. So there will be production of two cells now. So two cells, individual, each cell or each daughter cell will be having now n number of chromosomes. The process of reduction has already begun. So in a germ cell, if we see the diploid set of chromosomes were present. Now in the telophase, when there is production of this particular two daughter cells, there will be having, or each daughter cell will be having n number or haploid set of chromosomes. After this telophase 1, there will be a process of cytokinesis where the cell will have to divide not only its nucleus but the cytoplasm as well as cytoplasmic content also. For this the cell plate will be helping, and after or by the end of the cytokinesis process, two properly separated daughter cells will be produced and each contains haploid set of chromosomes. Next, after the cytokinesis, there is a very short period of interphase where the genetic material or the DNA will be doubling in its G1S as well as G2 phase. Especially the S phase helps in replicating the DNA and preparing the cell for the second meiosis stage. Next, in meiosis 2 also, as we have seen, it takes place in two different stages, karyokinesis and cytokinesis. In karyokinesis, it is having prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and finally telophase 2. So, we will study about the prophase 2 stage. So, when it comes to meiosis 2 in general, this meiosis 2 is always similar to that of a mitotic division. So, it is you can say that partially equatorial division. Here there will be no reduction of the chromosomes. So, when it comes to meiosis 2, especially the prophase 2, you can see here the chromatin fibers have started to condense, which appear to be thick and short. The nucleolus as well as the nuclear membrane also have started to degenerate. The centrioles have reached the opposite poles, producing the microfibrils around themselves, and these are the changes taking place in prophase 2. Next is metaphase 2. In metaphase 2, all the chromosomes will start to arrange in the equatorial position. Now remember that these divisions or these stages takes place in both the daughter cells of meiosis 1. So not only one cell, in both the daughter cells also same changes takes place. Now you can see in both the daughter cells the equatorial position arrangement of chromosome has taken place. The spindle fibers will be now attached to the kinetochore region of the chromosomes. Next is anaphase 2. In anaphase 2, here there is splitting of the centromere. So, splitting of the centromere takes place and the chromatids move towards the opposite poles, where again based on the position of their centromere, the shape of V, J, I takes place in them and they move towards the opposite poles. Next, once they move towards the opposite poles, next comes the telophase 2 stage. In telophase 2 stage, the reappearance of the nuclear membrane, reappearance of the nucleolus, there will be shortening or complete reduction of the or absence of this spindle fibers. The condensed chromosome will start to become thin as well as long, and each daughter cell will be now splitted into 2 more. So, by the end of this telophase 2, there will be formation of almost 4 daughter cells. After this telophase 2 comes the cytokinesis, when after the division of nucleus, cytoplasmic division also takes place, and after the cytokinesis there will be properly formed 4 daughter cells. Each daughter cell will be having haploid set of chromosomes. So, in this meiosis 2 there is no reduction of chromosomes further, only in meiosis 1 there is reduction of the chromosomes. So, by the end of this meiosis process, there will be production of 4 daughter cells which will develop further into gametes, and each will be having haploid set of chromosomes. So, that is about meiosis process. Once again, to discuss, meiosis can be classified into 2 different phases, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is further classified into karyokinesis and cytokinesis, where karyokinesis has prophase 1, which is having 5 different steps like leptotin, zygotin, packaging, diplotin and diakinesis. Then comes metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. After which comes the cytokinesis, then comes a short duration of interphase where the cell prepares itself for meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 is classified into karyokinesis and cytokinesis. Karyokinesis is further classified into prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2. And finally comes the cytokinesis, which is the end process of meiosis, and here there will be production of 4 daughter cells. Each of the daughter cells will be carrying haploid set of chromosomes. So, that is all in this session. Thank you. Hello students, welcome to your second PUC NCERT Biology practical session. So, in today's session we will be studying about pedigree analysis. First of all, we should know what is a pedigree. A pedigree means it is a method of identifying any inherited diseases from generations to generations. So, while you write a pedigree chart, there are certain symbols which is to be followed so that you can easily identify whether an individual is having this particular defect or is a carrier or is a normal individual. So, first we will study about different forms of a pedigree chart. So, here in pedigree analysis, if the symbol is a square, it indicates that the individual is a male, and if the symbol is a circle, it indicates that an individual is a female. If male is having a dot in the center, it means that he is a carrier. If the circle is having a dot, it means that a female is a carrier. When it comes to a square which is completely shaded, it means it is or the male is affected. If the circle is completely in shade, that means the female is affected. If the male and female is having a bridge like structure, then it is indicating marriage or copulation. And if there is a branch arising from them, like this, it indicates that these are offsprings. Next, if the symbol is a diamond shape, then it means here the sex of the offspring is unspecific. The sex of the individual is not known or unspecific, and within this one, if there are 5 or 6 written, it indicates that there were 5 offsprings whose sex were not known or it is unspecific. We have no idea about the sex of the offsprings. So, using these different symbols, we can write the pedigree chart and see that whether the generation is having some of the inherited kinds of diseases. So, we will have to study in this session about 2 different types of pedigrees, that will be autosomal dominant trait and autosomal recessive trait. When it comes to autosomal means, here it is related to body characters. So, dominant trait means here the genes will be dominant and expresses the disease. If the genes are recessive and expresses the disease, then it is autosomal recessive trait. So, first we will study about autosomal linked dominant trait. Here in the screen you can see that there is a affected female who produces offsprings. In the offsprings there is a affected male as well as a affected female, and the affected male, if gets married to a normal female in the second generation, you can see the offsprings produced by them. The female will be having this particular disease. If the female marries a normal man, she will be producing offsprings having both male and female which are affected. If the next generation, if the affected male marries a normal female, here again the offsprings, that is both sexes, male as well as female, will be having this disease. So, that is about the chart explanation. When it comes to autosomal linked dominant trait, it is transmitted from either of the parents. You can see in the chart that it can be transmitted from either a male parent or a female parent. Individual is generally heterozygous. So, heterozygous means having 2 different types of genes, that is one dominant and one recessive. Next one, when one parent has the trait, there is 50% chance of the trait appearing in any of the offspring. You can see it in any generations that if any one is having, either a male or a female is having this disease, it indicates that the offsprings 50% chance will be there that any of the sex might have this disease being transmitted. So, here you can take the example, or this chart is an example for polydactyly. So, it is an inheritance of autosomal linked dominant trait. Polydactyly means having one extra finger. Next on the screen you can see is the autosomal linked trait. So, in this autosomal linked trait, you can see that there are 2 different generations seen. In one, the female is a carrier. In another one, again the female is a carrier. Both the females get married to a normal man. So, when the first generation female and male produce offsprings, they will have offsprings which are 2 female and 1 male, and out of this a female will not be in either affected or carrier, but the male will be the carrier. In second couple, you can see that there are again 2 female and 1 male, but here the female is a carrier. When both the carriers of 2 different couple offsprings, that is male carrier and female carrier, produce offspring, they produce a affected female. So, when this affected female is married out to a carrier male, the offspring produced by them, all the offsprings will be either affected or will be carrier. So, if the affected female marries a affected male, then all their offsprings will be affected. So, that is explanation for this particular chart. So, here autosomal linked recessive traits, it expresses only in homozygous condition when the two genes are of similar type and are recessive in nature. The affected individual inherits the allele from both the parents. You can see that in the second generation where both of them are carriers and the offspring has been affected. Parents are normally carriers if both the parents are homozygous for the trait. All their children will have the trait, that you can see in the last generation where affected female marries a affected male, the young ones or the children produced by them all will be affected. They can be expressed both in male and female individuals in equal proportion. So 50% will be the chance that male might have this, or 50% will be the chance that female might have this. So here a best example for this autosomal linked recessive trait will be albinism. So albinism means it is whitening of skin where the melanin component will be less in number and they have a little tolerance for sunlight. So that is about pedigree analysis. In pedigree analysis, you have identified that there is autosomal linked dominant trait and autosomal linked recessive trait. With different symbols, we can indicate that whether a particular generation have male and female, whether they are affected or they are carrier, and how the disease get transmitted from one generation to next generation through inheritance. That's all in this session. Thank you.